FIRE movement, also known as financial independence, retire early, is gaining in popularity across Belgium. It started in the US, and as such, with a lot of these things, most resources are actually for an American audience. So, in this video, we really want to explain to you how you can reach financial independence in Belgium. We dig deep into investing, which is really the cornerstone of a FIRE lifestyle, as it's also our domain expertise here at Curvo. So let's go. What's the FIRE movement? FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. So the adherents of the movement are unhappy with the seemingly arbitrary retirement age which is imposed by governments. They calculated that it's actually possible for most people to actually retire before the age of 67, even if they don't earn a huge income, simply by adopting good financial habits, but also being in control of their financial life. So the FIRE movement is kind of based on two fundamental principles that are going to improve your financial life, even if your goal isn't actually to retire early. So the first one is about adopting good habits to increase how much you save every month. So it's actually not a surprise that saving more today will actually lead to a better life, financial life for you and your future you. And so being aware of your expenses and controlling them actually plays a big part. And it's something that you can actually start doing today. The second principle is to really maximize your savings by investing them in assets that have the highest chance of setting you up for success. It's really not about making a quick buck, but instead the goal is to invest in a sensible and proven way for the long term. So some people in the FIRE community, they become dogmatic about the one true way of doing FIRE. For some, you're not properly doing FIRE unless you only eat home-cooked meals, preferably something cheap like, spaghetti, and you're willing to cross the city to save €1.87 on that set of 8 batteries. To be honest with you, we actually disagree with that. FIRE is actually a spectrum, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it. Everyone is unique and has their own preferences on what they're willing to change today in order to have a better future. So in the end, really, it's about being aware of your expenses, but also being in control of your financial future. So a question we get often is actually FIRE possible in Belgium? And it is, and people have done it. So there are definitely easier countries to reach FIRE, but Belgium has benefits that make it particularly attractive. So the first one is really a strong social safety net. For instance, Belgian healthcare is very affordable and of high quality. This is an important worry, less while you focus on becoming financially independent. There's also no capital gains on stocks. Belgium is one of the few countries that does not tax capital gains for investments in stocks. This is a massive advantage because profits on investing, they compound. So good investing is really the cornerstone of reaching FIRE. Reaching FIRE essentially consists of two tasks. One, to save more every month by increasing your income or reducing your expenses. Also, secondly, to make the most of your savings by investing them wisely. So when it comes to increasing your savings rate, it's often easier to reduce your expenses than increasing your income. So it starts with getting visibility into how you spend your money. So one task is to really track your expenses for a month, for instance, through your banking app. Then you can sort of sit down and question each expense. Was it actually a necessity? Did it contribute towards my happiness? Can I avoid it in the future? And so growing your savings by investing is more challenging to most because it actually requires diving deeper into the world of finance. In the rest of this video, we're actually going to teach you how you can start investing in a rational and proven way without getting tangled up in technical complexities. For most, their bank is, the one-stop shop for anything related to finance. Unfortunately, though, they're most likely not going to be your best partner when it comes to investing. We all know savings accounts suck. You're losing money to inflation every year. And the funds that banks offer, they're not great because they have high fees and they're actively managed. But there are ways to invest in the financial markets that bypass these banks and their high fees. In particular, we actually believe that investing in index funds or ETFs is the best way for most to make their money work for them in the long run. So index investing is also called passive investing because you're not actually actively trying to outsmart other investors. Instead, you simply invest in as many different companies as possible across the world, thereby earning the average return of the global economy. So fortunately, the world economy just continues to grow, and it has done over the past 40 years. This graph that I'm just displaying now, it shows the evolution of the MSCI World Index since 1979. So MSCI World, it's a big bag of over 1,500 stocks from 23 countries, and it approximates the world economy. So a €10,000 investment in 1979 in a fund tracking the MSCI World would have grown to 880,000 today. This equates to an average yearly return of almost 11%. This is much better than your savings account. And index investing is also much cheaper than investing through your bank. So there are really two ways that you can start index investing in Belgium. So the first one is to do it yourself by managing your own investments through a broker. And the second one is automated through an app that takes away the complexities of investing and assists you on your financial journey. This is the problem that we actually solve at Curvo, because not everyone has the time, interest, motivation to dive deep and into this world of investing and to manage their own investments. So there are several steps involved when you're actually setting up your own investments. So the first one is to choosing the indexes in your investment portfolio. So MSCI World that I showed above is one of the many indexes you can invest in as a Belgian resident. You need to choose the right mix of funds that is in line with your goals, your time horizon, your appetite for risk. And to help you get started, you can actually inspire yourself from the Curvo portfolios that are offered through our app. So I've linked them in the show notes, so take a look at that. The next step is to open an account with a broker. So the best way in Belgium to invest in index funds is through ETFs. And to buy these ETFs, you actually have to go through a broker. So there are a bunch of different brokers available in Belgium, and they differ mostly by cost and ease of use. We did a little comparison of brokers. I'll share that link in the show notes. Then the next step is really choosing the right ETFs. So for each index, there are usually several ETFs from a bunch of different providers that you can choose from. It's super important to pick the right ones though, because the way they're set up can actually have an important tax implication for you. And so again, we wrote about all these considerations, and I've linked to them in the show notes. We also recorded a video related to that. And another step is that you actually have to make your investments every month. So for most people, investing every month is actually preferred over saving up a large amount. This is called dollar cost averaging, or rather euro cost averaging for us. And so investing regularly really allows you to minimize the risk of buying at the wrong time. So by diligently buying every month, you actually invest no matter how the markets are actually performing, whether they're low or high. And again, we looked at this dollar cost averaging in an article that I've linked in the show notes. So there are two advantages to managing your own investments compared to an app. So the first one is the allocation of your portfolio is in your hands. So you decide what you invest in. Secondly, it's cheap. Just like repairing your car yourself is cheaper than having it fixed by a mechanic, managing your own investments is actually cheaper than having someone else manage them for you. And the less fees you pay, well, obviously the earlier you'll reach financial independence. However, there are also some downsides. One, you need to do all your own learning, so figuring out how to start and understand the intricacies of passive investing in Belgium. It does take a lot of time, motivation, and a certain amount of self-confidence and discipline. Secondly, you have to figure out the tax implications. Belgian taxes are fairly complicated and they change all the time. Thirdly, you have to learn how to rebalance. After a while, your portfolio will need to be rebalanced so that it's still in line with your goals and your risk level. Fourthly, it's manual labor and mental effort. It doesn't take too long to calculate and execute on your transactions every month, but it is, and having experienced it, a tedious task that becomes fairly repetitive over time. And so at Curvo, do it yourself is really how we started. So we spent hours researching and figuring out how to build an optimal portfolio, which set us up for kind of financial success and financial independence. And from all these experiences, we realized that so many of our friends and family just weren't investing. It was too complicated. So managing your own investments successfully takes a combination and the interest in the world of finance, a considerable amount of time, and really a healthy dose of self-confidence, especially if you're going to go through the whole process on your own. And so that's why we built Curvo. And so Curvo's goal is to make index investing accessible to anyone who wishes to improve their financial future and gain financial independence. And really, through Curvo, we do this by removing all the complexities involved in investing. So you really don't have to worry about all those fine details. And there are a lot of advantages to using Curvo compared to doing it yourself. So firstly, obviously, there's no expertise needed. So the complexities of investing, they're taken care of. So you don't actually have to worry about anything. Secondly, the portfolio is automatically set up for you. So the best portfolio for you is really built based on your time horizon, your financial goals, but also your appetite for taking risk. And thirdly, your investments are on autopilot. So you can set up monthly contributions through a direct debit. This is from 50 euros a month. And the joys of this one is that all your money is invested automatically. So the cost for using Curvo is an all-in 1% fee per year on your total investments. This is more expensive than the broker fees when you do it yourself. And this also means that you'll actually reach FIRE a little bit later. However, you have to look at that you get the peace of mind throughout your investment journey. And so to conclude, we really learned what that FIRE is really a movement that's about gaining financial independence. It really does teach you important skills that will improve your financial well-being, even if your goal is not to retire early. It's definitely possible to reach FIRE in Belgium. While we saw that passive investing is really a great way to grow your savings over the long term, where your money isn't just being lost to inflation, with a standard savings account. So investing in index funds is also cheaper than investing through your traditional bank. So we looked through this video the two ways of passive investing in Belgium. Firstly, you do it yourself, or you do it in an automated fashion. It's cheaper, and you can FIRE earlier if you do it yourself. However, if you don't have the time to learn the intricacies of investing, why not use something like Curvo instead? It takes away all these complexities of investing, and it just makes it super simple. Yes, you'll pay a premium, but it's worth it for the peace of mind. All right, thanks for watching. Click that like and subscribe if you want to see more videos. Leave a comment with how you're doing FIRE in Belgium.